Cat is being particularly nosy today. I don't know what your deal is. Look, just wanting to nuzzle against everything. She's wanting to nuzzle against the laptop. She's wanting to nuzzle against my hand. I'm trying to do a thing. She wasn't paying me any attention until I started to set up for this. All right, everybody, say hello to the cat. Say goodbye to the cat. All right, calm down. You can sit in my lap. Just don't be getting all up in my face. I'm trying to do a thing. All right, so this is a first for this show. This is one of the first ones of these that I've bought. This is the first one that I bought. Careful, you're gonna fall on the floor. This cat is a basket case. All right, so this is the Jurassic Park Amber collection, and it's Robert Muldoon. That's the one that I got. So I almost bought one of these once before because I had the Jeff Goldblum figure in my hand, but I did not have the money at the time that I felt comfortable dropping, that amount of money on an action figure, and I decided to give it a pass, and I've regretted it ever since because I haven't seen that figure again since, and it's more expensive now. And if I'd have bought it at the time, I could have just, maybe eaten peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for a couple of days instead of passing on it. Because it was a nice looking figure. I might still try to get it at some point. And this one I got on Amazon. I got it pretty cheap. So, and I used my gift cards, so it was practically free. So, but yeah, it's Robert Muldoon. This is one of my favorite characters from the movie. You remember this guy? He was the game warden, and he winds up getting eaten by the raptors. Clever girl. So yeah, got a nice picture on the back of him while he's hunting the raptors, looking suitably terrified. And the cat wants to nuzzle the action figure box and nuzzle the. Would you stop? You psychopath! Go over here for like 10 minutes. 10 minutes. That's all I'm asking of you. So, the heads look pretty terrified too, looking at them through the package, but we'll have a better look at those later. Look, there's the mosquito trapped in amber, because it's the Amber collection. It says, as the game warden at Jurassic Park, Robert Muldoon clearly understands the dangerous and deadly nature of the velociraptors. Despite being a trained hunter, Muldoon ultimately succumbs to the clever behavior, they put the quotation marks in there, that he recognized from the start. And it says that this is for ages 8 and up. So it's still intended for kids, but, slightly older kids. You don't want to give it to a 4-year-old. There's too many small parts. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. As far as the packaging goes, I think. Let's go ahead and open them up. If you don't mind, that is. Rubbing up against everything. Alright, so the tape on here is very much kind of like satin, like Scotch tape looking tape, which is weird. At first, I thought it was one that somebody had opened at some point and then resealed, because it's not the kind of glossy tape like you usually see on a package like this. It's I don't know if it'll come across on the camera, but it's kind of like I said, it's like a satiny Scotch tape kind of look. So that was strange. I don't know, maybe it was just, what they could get at the time. Maybe their regular tape is stuck on a boat in the middle of the ocean. Yeah, you nuzzled the empty package, sure. What are you doing? You lunatic. I'm just gonna mess with everything. Eh. You little nerd. Yeah, you just stay curled up there. It's fine. You can sit with me, but don't be interfering in my work. Alright, so let's go ahead and take the accessories out. I'm going to be honest, I mainly bought this guy because I wanted to use him for some custom parts for some G.I. Joe classified scale figures. But if he turns out to be cool enough, I might just buy one of these just to keep him as his own figure. Because I like this character in the movie. He's actually one of my favorite characters in the movie. So, here's the alternate head, which looks sufficiently terrified. If I can... Cat, just don't bump the computer. He's got like these... Both of them have this sort of bug-eyed thing going on, where like the pupils are like really tiny. And I think like if I wanted to make one that was a little more calm, I could probably repaint the pupils and have him look like less horrified. But yeah, he looks pretty scared there. He looks pretty scared in the other head too. They're both pretty much the same expression. Like enough. Like they're different enough. It's mainly in the mouth. Like this one, the mouth is slightly open, and the other one, the mouth is completely closed. But they're a similar enough expression that I just kind of figure there's not really much point in giving him an alternate head. You know, it's like maybe if like one was like grimacing or smiling or just a completely neutral expression instead of like one is terrified and the other one is even more terrified. You know what I mean? And he's got two different hands, or two different sets of hands, I should say. And the other set of hands is a gripping hand. You can see there's a trigger finger there. And his weapon is this cattle prod looking thing. So, so yeah, there's a lot of cool parts to this figure. And as I indicated before, he should be really good custom fodder. So, like, I was thinking of a lot of good G.I. Joe uses for this character. So, Cat, you're knocking the stuff in the floor. So the cat knocked one of the hands in the floor and the cattle prod thing. So, I'm just going to go ahead and swap out this hand before any other carnage befalls us. Because I want to have this gripping hand in here, because I want him to be able to grip the weapon when I put the weapon in his hand. So, Cat, I'm about to go lock you in the bathroom. I am not joking. I will lock you in the bathroom. You are causing... Gesundheit. You are causing problems. Alright, so let's go ahead and get the weapon in his hand. And since I don't have the other hand for some reason, this other hand will just have to do. So I think it works pretty well anyway, because you can just kind of lay the weapon in his hand like that, and that looks fine. The other one was... Yeah, here it is. I found it. I see where it went. We'll go ahead and swap it out now. Because both the hands that come on the figure are kind of open hands, and they're not really useful for holding accessories. This one has a little bit more of a grip, and then he can actually properly grip this. But honestly, like the way that the thumb is done, he can't even really grip it that well anyway. The thumb, you can see how the thumb is kind of bent inwards, and it doesn't really oppose the other fingers. I can kind of stretch it around, but it just kind of wants to bounce right back. So you basically have two left hands that can't even really hold anything. So what's even the point? But yeah, there he's holding the cattle prod, so we can see how it looks. And we got to put the hat on him, because he's got to wear his hat. Do I have it facing the right way? I think it's facing the right way, because it kind of bunches up in the front there. So there we go. There he is with the hat. Now he looks cool. So, anybody who knows anything about G.I. Joe, when I say I bought this mainly for custom parts, can figure out what most of what these custom parts are going to be for. And the hat is definitely going to go to Recondo. So, now the cat is clawing at my knee. She does not want me to make this video. Alright, that's it. I'm going to pause this for a second. Sorry for anybody who's a fan of the cat, but she was making this video impossible. So I had to lock her in the laundry room. But she'll be okay. We don't have much further to go. We can finish this up. Let's go ahead and pop the head off. Popped off rather easily. And this ball joint is huge. So kids who want to swap out the head joint probably shouldn't have that much of a problem doing it. And we'll put this other Terrified head on here. And it's a tight fit, but it's going on there. There we go. I think that's a ball joint that'd be way too big to put on any other figure. Like if you wanted to put this onto a G.I. Joe or a Masters of the Universe or whatever, you're probably going to want to fill it in with some hot glue or something. Like if you take the neck joint and you put a thin layer of Vaseline on it, and then you can fill in the hole in the head, the neck hole, with some hot glue, and then you put it on there as you want it to, and when the hot glue cools, it'll still be movable because the Vaseline will have created a layer where it won't want to attach, and then you can put a head with a larger ball joint onto a smaller ball joint. That's the trick. So yeah, he's a pretty cool figure, but I've got a couple of issues with him, and one is this left hand, which either way is useless. It can't grip this. The one that should be more of a gripping hand can't really grip the weapon very well. It just kind of lays on top of the hand, as you can see, and it looks fine when it's laying on top of the hand, but if you're just going to lay it on top of the hand, it might as well just be this open hand, where it actually fits in there a little bit better, I think. So I'm going to put that hand back in there. And I'd imagine if you wanted to give him some kind of rifle or something like that, it'd be much the same thing. It actually fits a little bit better, because at least the thumb kind of wraps around it a little bit. So I don't know what the point of that hand is. It doesn't really bring anything to the party. The head sculpts are both great, and they're both great likenesses of the actor, and they both get across a feeling of terror. But I think that's the problem, is that you've got two heads on here, so why not have two different expressions? Maybe one that's a little more stern or something like that, and the other one could be more sort of terrified. They're both good heads, but they're both so similar that I don't know why they bothered to give you two heads. Like, just they could have just given him one head, and it would have been sufficient. So, the colors are good. You know, he's got, like, nice khaki, like the kind of outfit you'd imagine this character is having. And there's a nice little tag here, like a little identity badge, ID badge, right there on his chest. I don't know if it's going to focus right, but it's a pretty decent little detail. So I remember this takes me back. Some of the original Jurassic Park figures, they'd have little ID badges, but the tampography technology was not as advanced at the time. So it was just said JP on there and called it a day. And this vest does come off; it's removable. I think on the pictures in Amazon, when they had all the accessories separate, they had him without the vest. And so yeah, you can display him without the vest. He's got a gun holster molded into his back, but it doesn't actually. It's not like a workable holster. It doesn't actually have a gun in it. It's just like decorative. So, but it's a nice little detail. And he's got the safari shorts, like the cargo shorts with the pockets on the side. Again, anybody who knows anything about G.I. Joe probably knows what character that I'm thinking about using this as a base for. The hat's going to go to Recondo, but the body, I think, will be pretty good to use for Quinn, if you remember him. So I'm probably going to do something with that. So, but yeah, it's a pretty neat figure on its own. The mid torso articulation is kind of ugly. Like, they could have done that a little bit better. I think, you can see, like, it's a very severe sort of drop-off from the top chest to the lower part of the torso. And I think if I sand it down at the sides, that'll probably make it look a little bit better. It's nice detail as far as, like, the musculature of the arm and the legs and everything like that. And he's got some wristbands over here and a watch over here. And the watch actually has, I don't know if I can get it to show up on the camera very well, but the watch actually has a face on it with arms, and it looks like it's about, oh, which hand is that? It looks like it's about 10-15. Yeah, 10-15. So So yeah, the arms go all the way around, and they go up about that far. And then there's a cut here at the sleeve, which is a good place to put that. And then his arm goes all the way around that way. And then you got double joints at the elbows, so that's pretty nice. And then both sets of hands have an articulation that goes back and forth this way. Which, as far as like hands that hold guns, I prefer them to go this way. But, whatever. He's just going to have the cattle prod thing. And honestly, I think it's at a good enough angle that if you wanted to put like an actual rifle in his hand, he could probably hold it pretty well. Do I have a rifle? Yeah, I have this rifle here. This is the one that came with Killmonger. So let's see how well he holds that. Holds it pretty well. And then, excuse me one second. So many interruptions. Sorry about that. That was the sandwich that I ordered. It got here earlier than I expected. So yeah, as far as being an action figure of the character from Jurassic Park, I think they did a pretty good job with this. As far as being a character that I'm going to use for custom parts, that remains to be seen. We'll see how everything goes together. But yeah, that's him holding the rifle, like I said, and so yeah, he can hold a regular rifle pretty well too. So do I recommend this? Well, yeah. I mean, this is a character that's like I think one of the key characters in Jurassic Park. He might not be as big a deal as say Alan Grant or Malcolm or somebody like that. But for me, I thought he was like a really cool side character, and I liked his storyline. And it's too bad he got eaten by a velociraptor. But he was the guy who knew not to underestimate him, and he still wound up getting tricked. So it showed you just how clever that these creatures were. So I always liked him in the movie. He was like one of my favorite characters actually. So I might go ahead and buy another one of these just to keep him as Muldoon, because I do like Muldoon, even though I don't have a whole line of these figures. But I don't know, maybe I should get them because they're pretty neat figures. So like I said, the only thing that really bothers me is that the left hand is useless no matter what you do, no matter which one you put on there, and this articulation is kind of ugly, but you're probably just going to keep the vest on him anyway, so no big deal. And then it's nice to have two extra heads, but it would have been nicer to have two extra heads that were different. That had more of a gave us more of a broader range of emotions to display, like giving us at least two instead of like scared and more scared. So but yeah, this is I don't mean to be ragging on the figure, because it's a pretty nice figure, and if you collect Jurassic Park figures, you're definitely going to want it. Even if you don't collect Jurassic Park figures, it's a pretty nice figure to have. And he'd be one of those characters where I'd say if you only have one character from this movie, he's a good one to have. Maybe not the best one to have. I figure out of all the human characters, probably the one you'd want to have most is Jeff Goldblum, because he stole that movie. Maybe Alan Grant, because he's like the main character, but yeah, probably Jeff Goldblum. So I'll probably try to get one of those at some point, since I wasn't able to get that one because I didn't have the money for it at the time. I should have just dropped it though. I don't have a whole lot of regrets as far as things that I've passed on, but that's one of them. I'd say that's one of my regrets. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. We could talk a little bit about Jurassic Park if you want, and not just what you think about these figures, which that'd be a good thing, but what do you think about like the old Jurassic Park figures? What do you think about the movie? Hell, what do you think about the book? Did you read the book? I haven't read it in a really long time, but it was different in a lot of ways from the movie. Like Hammond was, kind of a more sinister character in the book, and Malcolm dies in the book. but then he winds up making him the main character of the sequel of the book. Probably because he stole the first movie, and he knew they'd want to give him a big part in the sequel. So, anyway, that's pretty much it for this time. We'll talk to you next time.